Hello, welcome back to the Off Grid family. Today is only going to be a quick one, but me and my son George have been sanding down a cabinet for his room and we've been restoring it back to its former glory. And we've been getting through quite a lot of sanding sheets, and I don't like spending huge tons of money on things like that. And I hate the fact that, you know, they get a bit of wood stuck in the sandpaper and then that's that. And I'd spoken to a friend of mine who's got a rubber for that very thing. It will rub out the bits of wood and stuff, and you've basically got a brand new piece of sandpaper. And I went online and I'd looked years ago and they were about 30-40 quid with delivery, because you could only get them in America. And so I looked again the other day and you can get them for about £11 with free postage. So I thought, do you know what, I'm going to get one and see how economical it is. Is it worth buying one of these, rubbing all of your sandpaper down back to sort of new-ish, and then doing that over and over again? Or are you spending a large quantity of money on this rubber which you could have just spent on just more sandpaper? So I'm just going to have a look at that, see how well it works at first, and see if it's going to be something that I will use in the future, because it would be really handy. You know, shove that in with your sander, and you know, you don't need as many sandpaper sheets, etc. And it's not cheap, you know, the sandpaper these days, especially the stuff that I've got with the Velcro hook and loop stuff. It tends to be very expensive, and it's even more expensive if you buy the actual stuff for the actual, you know, device you're using, you know, the branded stuff. So yeah, it's worth trying anyway. It's worth investigating, so I thought I would. Before I get on, I'd just like to thank my patrons, Darren, Joseph and David. You guys are absolutely awesome. I appreciate everything you've done for the channel, from the days when you like and comment to now when you're patrons. It means the world to me, it genuinely does. If you'd like to join them and become patrons, pop down in the description. We have behind the scenes, we have early access, and we also have a patron only WhatsApp group where we talk about projects coming up and ask for help and so on and so on. But yeah, only do that if you can afford it. If you do have a question and you can't afford to be a Patreon, don't worry, that's not the only way to get in contact with me. Send me a message, send me an email. I will always try and help if I can. Anyway, let's get on. Okay, so I went out and I bought myself one of these sanding rubber things, and basically what it does is it cleans your sandpaper and it gives it more life. Now, I've got a sander that has specific sand sheets that it needs. There are universal versions for it, but they're very expensive, all of them. So I thought, well, I'll give this a go and see if we can clean up some of the sandpaper, because if this works, then this is obviously a much bigger saving than buying loads more sandpaper. So it's not going to be a long video because I'm just going to go and test it. Let's see what happens. You know, it could work really well. If it works really well, then it's going to be a game changer. I should hopefully not have to change my sanding discs, sanding paper, sanding sheets, and etc. too often, you know, because I am getting through them quite quickly when I use them. Okay, before we go and test it, let's just have a quick look at it. I assume it's just a big thick thing of like a strong rubber, but I honestly don't know. It is definitely rubber, but it feels like a strange bar of soap. So this is a knife I just recently bought, just a cheap thing. It's quite sharp, but it's got a weird opening mechanism. And then to close it, you push it here. And I just quite like the mechanism. It's not useful it's not comfortable to hold or anything, but yeah, I thought I'd show you. If you guys are interested in seeing a few of the knives that I've got, I will do a video on it if you'd like. Right. Easy crazy. Feels pretty strange. I've never held anything like this, so I can't really say, but it looks almost like someone's taken some ramen and squished it together a bit too much. But yeah, it's a strong rubber. But let's go test it, shall we? Ironically enough, I don't have any other ones than this one. A friend of mine's got them at the moment, so I'm going to test it on here. Now this is thick on, this is real thick, so we'll give it a test and see what happens. Now all you have to do is turn it on and basically hold that to it, and it should clean it. So I'm just going to do that, and obviously I'll lower the volume later. Okay, I've put it in a clamp. It's not in tight or anything. I just wanted to be able to hold it and do a better job of getting it so you can see. So Right, so it didn't do everything, but it's literally used the tiniest bit, and this bit's brand new again. So it's not all that bad. Let's see if we've got another one. I think I've got one more somewhere. Just give me a sec. Right, okay, so this one, it's got little marks on it, so we're going to try and see what that's like, yeah? I suppose. Let's see. So it's not getting the bigger ingrained stuff out like those two bits, but to be honest, it's literally like, this is a new one I've got, and there is a difference, but compared to what it was like, you know, we're talking the difference between, it was more like this than this, obviously. But I think there is a difference, and I think it does a good job, but I just, you know, this is thick on here, so, you know, that is proper, like, burnt in crunchy bits kind of thing. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I think that does quite a good job, actually. Okay, so they work really, really well. I was very impressed that they were taking out almost all of the built up bits of wood and, you know, whatever. A few places where it sort of, I think, melted sort of resins and stuff in, that didn't come off the sandpaper, but come on, you can't expect it to get rid of things that are actually bonded together in that respect. But I do think it worked really well, and after doing all the pieces of sandpaper I did, there was still a huge amount of the rubber left, so I do think it's actually going to work out to be financially viable to do it that way rather than buying new sanding sheets, because it did get rid of it, and it wasn't like it wasn't chewing up the rubber like really, really quickly, you know, because I did think that it's going to be like one piece of sandpaper takes about that much of it, and I thought it was going to be a bit uneconomical, you know. But yeah, I think it really could be quite a useful thing to do, but you have to look in your own situation as well. If you only sand every now and again, and you know you only got through about 3 pieces of sandpaper in a year, what's the point in buying one, you know? But if you do all the time, you might find it very, very useful. But I just thought, you know, it's worth a try, worth checking out, isn't it? Anyway, before I go, I'd just like to thank my patrons again. You guys are awesome. If you'd like to join them, the links are in the description. Thanks so much for watching. See you again next time. Bye for now.